Hey there, this is Christine Landl, and I am with my sister, my best friend, my business partner, Jennifer Ream, and we are so excited to be here on yet again another platform that we are creating and another chapter, another piece to our journey.
The Vibe Well Podcast. This is Jennifer Ream. So excited to be here with you guys. Our intention for this podcast is all about sharing our love for all things wellness, holistic wellness that is. And we are here to uplift, plant some seeds, and support you on your wellness journey. We've always loved being able to be out there with our community, sharing all the things that we learn. And as we grow and learn new things, we love to put them out there, and maybe they'll plant some seeds for you and help you along your journey. So here we are. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome back. So excited to be here. As always, here with Jen, and we're super happy to have Kelcie Plamondon on today, who is a longtime and dear friend. I feel like, let's see, I knew you when you were coaching swimming at Flint Golf Club, and then you became a babysitter of mine, and then you became a babysitter of my nephew's. Kelly stole her from me.
Yeah, basically the Landl family adopted me for a while.
We did. And your sister.
Yes.
So we've known Kelcie for a while, and it's been really cool to see her journey change over the years through health and wellness and fitness. And she's recently gone back to school, and she's working 2 jobs and starting her own business, and a fellow entrepreneur, which we love. And so we're just excited to really just dive into all things health and wellness. And so thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is super exciting.
Yeah, it's so fun. And I think I feel like we should just start from a little bit of the beginning. And, you went to school for business, right?
Yes.
And now you're
Flip.
Yeah. So another alum with us. And so, but now you have, through your own personal journey, now switching gears, doing 2 things, which is you've got a side passion project going, and it's all about health and wellness. So how did you take that turn, and what was it that really kind of moved you forward into that direction?
Yeah. So my health journey really started probably about like 5 years ago. I had asthma growing up, and I just remember, I don't always want to take asthma medication. So I found I found the Whole30, and I was like, oh, I'll try this. So I had a lot of success from it, but it didn't feel like a lifestyle. I don't know if either one of you have done the Whole30 before, but it's
I'm familiar with it.
It's pretty restrictive. And from there, I was dealing with like a lot of like food restrictions still, and just a lot of emotional stuff going on in my life, and that led to binge eating. And I felt like I couldn't break that cycle for a long time. It was always like, oh, let's try a different diet. Like a different diet will help me end my binge eating, when really that wasn't the case at all. I needed to learn to love myself and just find like total balance. So it wasn't until like my end of my college, my senior year, where I knew I was going to be moving out of state. I was like, I really want to like finally get a grip on this. And I just said, okay, let's let go of the food rules. Let's focus on eating organic as much as I possibly could. Figure out how to enjoy my life, because exercise needs to be fun, not a chore. I hate that mentality. And as soon as I started to just find balance with everything, with my food, and like stop making food rules, things really started to shift for me. And then it became like super addicting. And I was like, I feel like a lot of women like struggle with this, where they feel like they always need to be on a diet, or they can't eat this, or they can't eat that. And unless you like truly have a true food sensitivity, why do you need to not eat something? That doesn't make sense to me. And then fast forward to 2020, I moved back to Michigan, and it was right around the pandemic. So I started a new job actually the end of February. and I got my condo in Birmingham. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And this pandemic hits, and my parents were like, are you sure you want to be alone during this? And I was like, maybe not. So I went home and I stayed with them during it, and I had more time on my hands, and I was just like, I can really see where this is headed. I was like, it's probably very unlikely that I'll ever go back to work. And I want to do something more with my life. And I felt that calling for a long time. Like when I finished my business degree, I knew that it was just like a piece of paper. And I knew I just needed that to get my foot in the door somewhere. It was not what I'm here to do.
That's a very profound message that I don't think you realize you just said.
Yeah,
it's a
really
topic.
is.
It's a topic that we need to do a podcast on later. So note on that, Rich.
Yeah. I mean, I feel very passionate about that topic too. I see a lot of kids do things that they don't necessarily want to do, and college is so expensive. But yeah, so I was like, I've always been so passionate about health and wellness. I originally went to college to be a dietitian, but that's when my eating disorder started from that program that I was in. It consumed me. And I was like, once I heal myself, maybe I'll make a pivot. So that's why I got a business degree. But during 2020, I was just journaling, and I was like, I need to do something more. This is my chance to like speak out against like things that are going on, the true power of what you eat and how you move your body. All of that stuff matters. The things you consume, like your social media, I mean, by the things you consume.
Yeah.
So, I knew my friends, a couple friends went through the NTA Association, which is the Nutritional Therapy Association. It's all remote, which is good and bad. Normally you would meet once a month, like in Birmingham or a local area, to do the functional piece of it. So I didn't do that portion, but from there I just called the school and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And I enrolled in October of 2020, and I started in February of 21, and I just finished my program like 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, I'm officially certified. I feel like I don't know, like I have so many different sorts of emotions going through me. I'm a little bit tired because my work season with my full-time job, it was like super busy, and then I was trying to scramble to like get everything done. And now I am like, oh wow, like let's now figure out how to grow a business. And my brain just goes all sorts of different ways because I feel like you guys are entrepreneurs.
Welcome to the world. It never ends.
But yeah, my brain just like is constantly going. I'm like, oh, I need to do that, or I want to do that, or take a note on that. So yeah, but that was a very long story.
No, it's so good. It's a I think a lot of people can relate to that journey of yours and what you've been through, and restriction and dieting and trying to figure things out. It's interesting in listening to you that it's so intuitively and innate in you that you are supposed to be on this path, because the fact that you even thought to yourself on your own, unless you had somebody inspiring you in some way, but to do Whole30 to heal your asthma is already like that intuitive connection. It's like, oh wow, she even thought to go to her food to try and heal her body, which is really cool. Whether it was the right thing for you or not, it's just really cool that you went there. And so I thought that was an awesome little connection that you had. And, we go through those things often to inspire us to do work that you're doing now, and you can relate to so many people. And I think that's really cool. And I had never heard of that program that you did until you did it. And I follow you on Instagram. The cutest name, Kelsey's Corner, right? Is it Kelsey's?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelsey's Corner. It's so cute. And you do such a great job. And
thank you.
So much value added there.
It is.
It's so value added. I love that. But I think
You're gonna make me
too,
cry.
Yeah. Well, I just want to mention too, the what stands out to me is your journey. This is your 20s. You're coming into your late 20s. And I think it's important to point out this journey that you've had in your 20s, because we know in our 20s, we didn't have that knowingness about our food and the connection and what it was doing. Looking back, we're like, oh my gosh, if we had known now, if we had known in our 30s what we knew in our 20s about the whole food part of it, I mean, that's a game changer. So do you think that do you see like in your friend group with the 20s, is there more awareness to the food brain gut connection? Like whether they say it like that or not, are they more aware that there's like maybe a connection with their anxiety or their depression to their food and what they're eating? Do you see that?
Yeah, so recently I have seen that a lot more, and I'm not sure if it's just because I've gone through
You're
my
in the world
program,
now.
Yeah.
and I have met so many great friends now being remote, and they're even in Michigan too, and I'm like, oh wow, I've been like praying to find my community for a long time. But yeah, I have a lot of people that will mention like, oh, I want to clear up my diet because I have anxious thoughts or I have this, and if anything, I just want people to be aware that you can take control over that and you do not need to go to prescription drugs. I mean, there's some cases where you do need that, but a lot of times you can manage that on your own as long as you have the right tools in your toolbox.
Right.
Yeah, and speaking of, what were some of those things that help you to make that switch when you and you start to see yourself heal? And you mentioned loving yourself more. What were some of those things that you did to do that?
So in the beginning, I actually went to therapy. That was really, really hard for me. I thought that I had a food addiction, so I actually went to the 12-step program for a while. And I'm not ashamed of that at all.
No, did you find it was helpful? Or
It's part of the journey of figuring things out.
I mean, I was like 20 when that was, and I just remember like sitting on the floor with my dad, and we had a Bible, and he was just like, you're going to get through this. And I was like, I don't know if I will. I was just so lost. And, but when I went to those meetings, I was like, Kelcie, like you are not at that level. Like, let's try some therapy. So,
which is, I feel like probably was a little bit, puts you at ease a little bit.
oh, so much.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I'm not broken. I just have a little bump in the road and I need to like figure out how to get past that. So, first, like journaling out your affirmations, the things that, you love about yourself, what went well during your day, what you want to do better, those types of things. And then just celebrating, each meal that you put together that fits is like serving your body, like celebrate that. And then actually exercise, like do movement that you truly like. I was really into yoga for a long time, and I felt like that helped calm my mind down a lot. I haven't gone to yoga since the pandemic, but my workouts have evolved since then. And each year I feel like I find out something different that works, that doesn't work. And then you just kind of build from there. So
yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, we right before, the podcast before this one was with Stephanie, our massage therapist, but also a trainer. So we talked a lot about that, how your movement evolves over time and how it really has to be about enjoying it, and that you see so much results when you're loving your body and moving at the same time. That's when you see results.
yeah. It's crazy because like I've been looking at pictures over the past couple years so that I can show potential clients, like I walked this and I know what it feels like. And it's crazy to see the amount of inflammation that I had, like even 2 years ago, because it's like a lot of emotional stuff, and you need to be able to like release that. And I believe once you do, paired with a good diet and program, you will have the body that you want.
Yeah, it's that holistic approach. It's the mind, it's the body, it's the spirit, it's connecting with your soul, and it is all together.
Yeah.
I just had coffee with a friend, and we were talking about that. She said, I just need to get back on track with my food and stuff, and then I can get this weight off. And I said, I think if you just focus on healing and loving yourself, you won't even have to worry about the rest of it. Like it's going to fall off on its own. And I think what you're saying speaks to that, because it's what usually happens. It's usually emotional. And I've seen your pictures and I know exactly, you were beautiful before, but I see what you mean. Like you can just see it in we hold a certain amount of light. And if we're, when our bodies are a little more full of inflammation, we're a little more dense looking just in our aura.
You can see it in your eyes.
You can see it in your eyes. Yeah. You're just a lighter being a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that a lot of type A people struggle with that. And I mean, that's just my experience because I always say I'm like a recovering type A, like learning to let
Same,
go.
same girl, same. And my journey is similar to yours in that in my late teens and 20s, that was food disorder was how I handled emotional stress. And
It's a form of control.
it was 100% a form of control. And when therapy taught me that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. I feel like my life is spiraling out of control. And so I totally relate to your journey in that. And it's interesting how women, especially young women, use that. Like that's our crutch is food, food illness, really. We struggle with it.
It's the one thing that you feel like you can have control over. Like you can weigh out your food. You can, you know exactly what's going on. You
can
your
punish
body.
yourself by not eating.
Yeah.
Or
so toxic.
Yeah, so toxic. And it really always comes down to not feeling worthy and loving yourself, like you said. Like that's such the game changer.
Yeah.
And so you went to therapy, and then I feel like these things are so helpful and beneficial. So what were, a few other things that help you to move from the disordered eating into where you're at now with a healthy balance?
Well, the therapy helped a lot, and just learning to love yourself, learning to let go. I felt like I had my life planned out from the time I was like 16. And I was like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be a dietitian. I'm going to get married at this age. I'm going to do all these things. And, like nothing.
Guy was like, oh, ha, ha,
yeah,
ha,
like
ha.
I wanted to swim 4 years in college. And then after a year and a half, I was like, this is not for me. So yeah, just like learning to let go, trust the process, work out, find something that works for you, surround yourself with quality people. During that time, my parents were very nice and they let me move home. And that's when I was going to U of M Flint. So they were so supportive of everything. And that was the first step, because I felt like the biggest failure when I transferred, and I actually took time off college too for a while. And just being open with them, and they just loved me unconditionally. And I was like, oh wow, like I am still lovable. So I think that helped during the journey too. And just being like vocal about it. It's not embarrassing.
Be vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with people who lift you up is so important. People don't realize that your tribe, if they're not positive or if they're if they're negative and constantly focusing on that just brings you down to their level. You do have to. It is such a big deal who you surround yourself with. I love that.
Yeah, and I also, I know I'm not the norm, but like I wasn't a huge partier either, and to this day I'm really not. My freshman year, I had the fun when I was away at school, but after that, when I came home, I was like, I just don't want to do this. I want to heal myself, get better. And I took college serious because I paid for it out of my own pocket. So my mom and dad gave me what they could. But I graduated with very minimal debt, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, I took it serious, and I took my health serious.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to dabble in the alcohol and all of that stuff either.
Good for you. It's amazing.
Well, it sounds too like this is part of it is you were being guided. This was bigger than you to an extent.
Oh yeah.
And you were learning to get in tune with that voice that was guiding you to your right path, which is really leading to how you're going to serve today. And that's usually how it happens. Like we have to go through the mud and we have to go through those rocky roads, because we're like, we have to learn we're not taught how to listen to that inner voice.
Oh no.
And hopefully that's what we're evolving into, where the education system will teach us in our younger generations how to tune in and listen and be led to their gifts intuitively. Then the sky's the limit for what humanity can do.
Yeah.
And I think that is like your whole journey is so such an example of that. Of you were like, I'm feeling off, not well, but because I'm not, and the more I kind of course correct into healing myself and course correct into what I love and loving myself, the rest of it keeps lining up for me. And it kept lining up for you.
It's so true. But that's like when my faith got so strong, because when it was in my darkest binge eating days when I was still out east, because that's where I originally went to college. I just remember like God was always there, because just the things that were going on, I was like, I don't know like what I would have done if he wasn't there, if he didn't push me to call my parents and tell them like I'm packing up my boxes. Like I mailed my stuff home.
Yeah.
Because I had to fly home. So it's so bizarre. And I'm still trying to put the pieces together now, because I feel so grateful that because it takes a lot of courage.
Yes.
You know, my job now, it pays my bills, but it doesn't align with my purpose. Like, am I influencing anybody? And I always think about that. I'm like, I want to help people. I want to be a positive light. And if anything, if you don't want to go on a health journey, if anything you can take from this, like do what you feel called to do. Because I feel like so much logic is pushed these days, where, you know, the emotional piece is important too. And the gut brain connection, that's really important as well.
Yeah, gosh, that's been our journey. I mean, here we are in our 40s now, and we can tell you like decades worth of, you know, not making a ton of money at all, like just, you know, enough to survive. But we kept creating, and we kept like, I was always saying like, I'm doing this whether I'm getting paid to do it or not, because this is how much I love it, and this is why I'm here. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like this, like you just do, because you're called to, and we each have that in us. We all have that, like, and when we learn how to serve in those ways, like what lifts us up, I mean, that's the juice and the gold of being here, you know. It really is. It changes everything. Like it changes our being. So I love that. I love that.
You've always been ahead of your years. I've always said that. I've always said that. Even and it is always like when we, you know, it's like when you go through the struggle, that's where you find the gifts. And you know, I think that it's for people who are in their 20s, young 20s, approaching 20, those are such ages that for some reason we have pushed on that age group that they need to know what they're going to do with the rest of their life.
Awkward.
And I think that pressure is so
Good
tough.
word.
Yeah. So awkward.
So awkward.
It is. Well, when you think about it, like your brain is not fully developed until you're 25.
Right.
So how are you supposed to make these huge life decisions at 18?
Yeah.
And
Or they're starting, I feel like they're starting at like 15 when they're talking about it to them in high school.
Yeah. I mean, my out-of-state tuition when I went to Keene was $30,000, and that was a year in 2012. So I don't even know what it costs today, but you know, you need to set kids up for success and what they truly want to do. Like, I know you mentioned, Jen, that you weren't making any money, but one of my other passions is like figure out how to make that making money, because we all need to have an income.
Yes, and we should. And and I think that's the difference too, is that that was our
That was part of our journey.
That was our limiting belief based on our environment.
Yeah.
So that was our journey of like, no, I'm worthy of being paid to do these services, whether you're doing, no matter what it is. Like that's always been such a big thing. Yeah. And so for a lot of people, lack mentality is a huge limiting belief that they have to get over. Yeah. So you're 100% right. Like there is absolutely no reason why you cannot have a great income from doing that work that you love, and you will. Like that's not, I mean, you for sure will. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so true. And that was a big part of our journey. Yep.
The world will be a better place when you have people doing what they want to do.
Yes.
And we need people with all different skill sets. So that needs to be celebrated too.
Absolutely.
Whether that's traditional school or trade or entrepreneurship. I mean, there's so much you can learn off YouTube now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, girl.
Yeah.
YouTube's my friend definitely for social media, because
like learning right now in the entrepreneurship
and podcasting.
journey.
We actually, I love to listen to a podcast to learn and to feel inspired and to.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
that's your mentorship now, right there.
Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's important to talk about. Like Christine and I have these conversations a lot, and we talked about it before we hit record. Is that we are feeling so strong and passionate right now about sharing with our community the vision of what we want to see. We know we're not going back to what it was, and we don't want to.
It's emotional.
Yeah, that was not, there was so many things that were failing us in how our systems have been for 100 years. So now let's speak into existence what we want to see with our education, with our health, with our finances, all of it. Let's lead the way and speak and let's create new systems that reflect where we're going. We are more evolved now, and our children are more evolved. I think you're a perfect example of the next generation is more evolved. And we're seeing that more and more. Our kids' needs are not going to be the same as us. They see the world differently.
Yeah.
They just do.
They're here to bring the light, and we've got to foster that.
Yeah. And so that is just so much like a part of everything that I think about right now. What do I want to create? I want to create be a part of what these new things are going to be. So let's talk about that for a minute. Like what are you excited about doing? Like, how are you envisioning working with people and, people of all ages? But I think obviously you can speak to people that are in their 20s really well.
Yeah.
And that are going through the same thing that you went through. But like, what do you see going on with all that? And what do you want to do? And what are you excited about? And
what are you creating?
I feel like I'm excited about everything, to be honest. So the reason why I chose Kelcie's Corner as my Instagram handle and my website that's not completed yet was because I didn't want to put myself in a box. I'm passionate about a lot of different things. And I was like, my business is always going to evolve, and my evolution is a reflection of my business too. So, I'm currently working with doing one-on-one health coaching, and I really love that. However, I've always envisioned myself doing like speaking events, like conferences, getting people in a room. I love people. I think virtual work's amazing, but you lack that human connection.
Yeah.
And I really want to be more involved in my community too, and direct people how do you actually support a local farmer, and things like that. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really realize, they're like, oh no, don't eat meat. Well, it's not about not eating meat. It's about how it's farmed.
Yeah. Amen.
It's about how it's farmed, and cows are not killing the earth. I will tell you that right now. Your fake meat is.
Yeah, we need their poop, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fake meat, the way that it's produced gives off fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I want to be a light in that area too. And then I also really love writing. That's something that I've loved to do, but I never felt like, I'm like, well, how is this going to make me money? Like, talking about traditional mindset. So maybe a blog. I like the idea of podcasting too. There's so many different avenues.
Yeah. Just creating. You're in a creative flow right now. So you just have to go with it.
Yep.
Whenever you feel in alignment with it.
But it's so needed. And I'm just so, I can't even tell you how, like, it just lights me up excited that there are other people like you out there who see it, who see what we need to do. And you've got that it factor about you when it comes to what you know, and about what's going to really help us all be healthy and moving forward. And I'm just like, it just gets me so excited.
Gives you chills.
It does.
I feel like I'm emotional a lot right now, just because I'm like, I can't believe it's here. Like, wow, you pushed through.
Right.
Took breaks when you needed to, but yeah.
Yeah.
You just endured a lot, I would say, in the past, 7-8 years.
I
but
feel like
especially
10
in the past.
In the past 2 years, I feel like 10 years has passed.
Yeah.
Right.
So cool.
It is so cool. But I think that, this is what's exciting is having the conversations about these little things that you said, and with you being able to share your experiences and your wisdom when it comes to these things that are really, really important. That what we have found over the years is that most people just don't even know. Like they just don't know about a lot of this stuff.
Like birth control.
Yes. I mean,
nobody. Stop taking birth control, please.
Right. Like people, like the little things that we have learned in the health and wellness community, not conventional health and wellness. I'm talking about real, like, holistic health and wellness. Those of us in that community, we've learned so much, and we've had the opportunity through technology and social media to really connect and build this community and support each other in different programs. And, we've taken tons of different courses and still do. I just finished a course that I just took, that Christine and I just took, and it was
What'd you guys
amazing. It was called Reconnect, Recode.
Oh, that
Very
sounds
spiritual.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really about just the inner work, like getting more in tune, like as we evolve and as the earth is shifting and how we're all shifting right now, which I know you understand, but as the earth is making her shift into, higher levels of consciousness, we are too. And so it's affecting people whether they know it or not.
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. So we, she was actually, our coach was in Australia. So of course she can speak to like so much of what's going on over there, which is really heavy and dense. And a lot of things are coming out through Australia that need to be healed. Obviously, we can
One of
see
my
it
teachers
here.
was from Australia.
Yeah. So it's starting there. I mean, we've all felt it here too. But yeah, so she is oh my gosh, she's
So cool.
so amazing. She's such a light worker, but it was just kind of 4 months of her, stuff we already do, like meditation and reflection and all of that. But I also learned a lot, and I feel like the right teachers, we always say this, the right teachers come at the right time. When you're ready to learn more, the next teacher shows up. And so it was very much like a spiritual program, but
That's cool.
I learned a ton, and I just enjoy setting aside a time to commit to that inner work and commit to that self-love. Like that, to me, that's just what it was. It was like I was feeling drawn to, okay, what am I do? I need to do something like this for myself right now. I like learning more, and I like taking that time to do that for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for like, what's the next thing? And this just literally was like a domino fell in my lap, that we'd end up taking it. But so, so I think those things are those are so important, and what you create. There's just a lot of these things that people just don't know about.
I also think too that people need to start caring more about it. Like I feel like there's this little bit of stagnant, like not accepting where we're at right now, but it's like, we'll get back to this normal, and people are still stuck there.
There is no getting back to
We're
it.
not going back.
No.
And someone recently said, when I was talking about my kids, someone said, well, they need to have as much normal in their life as possible. And I was like, no, because I'm not going back to what that normal was. I didn't like it to begin with.
Right.
So what we're doing is just following our intuition, and it's different every day.
Yeah.
That path is different every day. And that's how you create, and that's how you move forward. But it's like, it's sometimes hard to like, you want to just shake people. And we've learned a lot in the last 2 years too. We have to, that's part of our journey.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, oh my gosh, yeah, we want to learn and grow and evolve, and that's always been something that fueled us. Like, I never want to stop learning. I never want to stop growing or be closed-minded that this is just the way that it is. But people are really stuck there, and we do need people to care more about moving forward and evolving and growing, and so that in itself is part of our journey too.
I mean, I think it's an exciting time to be alive. I mean, I feel like last year I was really scared and nervous because I was like, am I going to be able to have a job if I choose not to get vaccinated? And I feel like, you can stay stuck in there. And so like mental health and all of that, like I unfollowed all of the politics and everything because I was like, that leaves me like in this box.
Yeah.
And, I don't need to be searching for accounts that believe what I believe. I know what I believe.
Right.
I don't need to like
Oh my
constantly
gosh.
be like feeding it into
So
my head.
true.
That is so true. Like that is exactly it. I mean, I have completely went off Facebook, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's
I've
like-
been off Facebook for like a year and 5 months now.
Oh, wow,
I get
that's
on to
awesome.
like check a notification or groups or something. So sometimes I'll see the very top post. But I literally, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm being triggered. Oh, I'm being triggered. Like this is not in alignment. It was toxic.
Yeah.
So, part of those boundaries.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, the fact that you have that awareness is huge, because it is about your mental health.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what I was finding too, was like, okay, I don't need all of this bombarded in my face all the time, because I already know what path I'm on with this, and what they say, what they're doing, what they're saying on, mainstream media, it doesn't matter to me. It honestly just doesn't matter, because this is my road that I'm on.
Yeah.
And so many people are working through their shit on Facebook, and that's the problem. Like, we don't want to go into their low vibe.
Yeah. Sometimes I've thought about messaging somebody and just saying, hey, like, have you thought about therapy? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but it looks like you're taking this out on social media. And trust me, like, I get it. I've like done some stupid stuff, like where I've posted things like,
you're like, delete.
We know we've been unfollowed many times with the stuff that we share.
Oh yeah, I've lost a lot on my personal account on Instagram, but I'm not even on that anymore because it just doesn't excite me. My health account does. So that's where I am. And then I have Facebook basically for family. And then I found out if you want to plan out like your Instagram post, you need to have a Facebook page too. To use Instagram creator. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll keep it then.
Yeah. I mean, I still have it. I just haven't been on it in a really long time. And, but yeah, it's part of it. I think that it was good and for a lot of reasons in the past, but it really just, those are the kinds of things I think we could do without. Yep. So it's great for business, 100%. As an entrepreneur, like the social media is amazing. And, we are grateful for that, obviously, because it does help you see what it helps you support businesses that you love and see what they're doing and vice versa. So if we had it just for that, I mean, gosh, it'd be amazing. It would be perfect then. Yeah. But,
but you want to connect with people too. Like yes, social media is used for business, but you want the people aspect of it to be there still.
And I think that it was there in the beginning, and then it just became so heavy where people had no filter. Yeah. And it was mean, and it was just very, very toxic.
Or they're just writing you off because you have one opinion that's not the same as theirs, which is wrong. I don't believe in that. So
yeah. So with Kelcie's Corner, where are you at today? Like, and what are your services, and what are your
offerings?
How are you? Yeah. What are your offerings? Yeah.
My storefront.
Yeah. So, what you got in there? What you got in that storefront?
So on my Instagram page, I have a link tree, and that will take you to information on if you're interested in working with me one-on-one for health coaching. And then I also have some affiliate links that I'm affiliated with, obviously, like Beauty Counter, King Coffee. That's Rishi Coffee. I'm not sure if you guys have drank Rishi yet.
Oh, we drink Rishi. Well, just through Four Sigmatic.
Yeah, I love Rishi. Yeah. And then I'm working on getting my website set up still. So if you guys know anybody that
we do. We have a great
guy that can help with that, because I sit there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not know how to code.
So I was going to say one advice we can give you from veteran entrepreneurs is don't try and do things that are just not in your area of expertise that suck your time. It is so much more productive and worth your time to farm those things out.
Yeah.
100%.
And we love our guy.
Yeah. And we have Rich here, who is amazing at all kinds of stuff. Like he does a lot for us. A lot for us and provide well. So we've definitely got a lot of connections that we can help you with that back end stuff. But
that'd be better.
Yeah. So Kelcie's Corner.
Yeah, Kelcie's Corner, and the content on there is so great and helpful and inspirational. And I know a lot of people, if they're not following you yet, they should, because it's very authentic.
I appreciate it. That's always the point. I always make sure to create things that are on my heart, because if you're creating something where you feel like, oh, this is a job, I don't want to do it, I don't think it's going to serve people the best. So I'm very intentional about that. And I did hire a business coach, and he's been phenomenal. And it's like, oh, you need to post like every day. And I was just like, no, I don't really agree with that. Like, I know you're the expert, but I also don't roll that way anymore.
Still go with your intuition.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, I need to be aligned with topics that I feel very passionate about, that I think will serve people. And if I'm going to post just to post something, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. And it's so important, because that is how it flows. That's when you're flowing down river, and the light is coming through you from God. And that's when you feel it in your heart, That's
Oh,
when
yeah.
you know you're supposed to be sharing it. Yeah, you're a light worker for sure. keep up the amazing work.
Yeah.
Super empath.
Yeah, we can relate.
That kind of goes all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's definitely pros and cons to that one,
Yeah,
but we
I gotta
we
learn some
learn.
boundaries on that.
Yeah.
For sure. Because you
Yeah.
want to help everybody.
It's a journey.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta
definitely a
find
journey.
The balance.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you. It's so good to have you on here.
This is exciting.
I know. Let's do it again. I feel
Yeah.
like we can deep dive into each one of those topics that we
Oh my
talked
gosh,
about.
I feel like there's so much.
There is.
Yeah.
Like,
So
literally
let's
so much.
have you come back on when you, because I know you're very limited in what you have got going on, but
Yeah.
when you're ready, let's come
You
back.
guys have my number. So.
Yeah. Or you just tell us, I'm ready. I got some stuff I want to say.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm happy that you guys are doing this. I met you. Well, I've known Christine longer than you, Jen, but I always felt very pulled towards you both because I know I did some stuff with you guys in college, and I felt like I was being pulled in 1,000 different directions. I was like, I don't think I can manage both of this right now, but I'm really glad that we've stayed in contact and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Part of our tribe.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, it takes a village of,
It does.
especially moving forward. I keep saying that, but where we're going, we'll all be
yeah.
helping each other and sticking together and supporting each other. And that's just the way it'll be.
Have a big community
Yes.
land,
Yes.
support each other, the local farmers.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually continuously look for property for our homestead of
Yeah.
our community.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in there.
So,
It's in the cards at some point.
yeah. All right.
Feel the
Thanks,
same.
girl.
Of course.
Lots of love to you. And thank
Yes.
you, everybody, for tuning in. And if you have any questions about anything or if there was something else that you wanted to ask Kelcie, you can always reach us at drinkjuice@vibewell. And obviously, you can DM her on Kelsey's Corner on Instagram. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks again, friends, for joining us today on our latest podcast episode. We love sharing this with you. So please share the love if you feel called to all your friends and family.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on what we're going to talk about next. It's always so juicy.
And of course, you can find us on social, Instagram, Vibewell Lifestyle, and Vibewell on Facebook. Love y'all.
And if you're in town, make sure you stop by and see us at Vibewell too.
Yeah, we would love to see your cute face.
See you soon.
Bye.